Hello all and welcome back to Killershrewfan's Killer Toy Reviews. We have got yet another review video for you today. This review goes out to Dino Man, a relatively new face to our channel, and he has just graced us with so many awesome comments on some of our other videos, so we wanted to be sure to get this video done for him. Thank you so much for all of your comments, we really appreciated it. But he requested us to review the Carnegie version of the Spinosaurus, so that's what we're gonna do for you guys today. And right off the bat, I gotta say, this is one of my favorite Spinosaurus toys. I know it's not entirely accurate anymore, but it's just got so much going for it, and we're gonna talk about all of it right here and right now on Killershrewfan's Killer Toy Reviews. But as always, we're gonna start off with the head there. And as you can see, it has that very classic Spinosaurus feel, the head does. You've got that sort of notch in the upper jaw there. You've got the teeth, which sort of look a little mushed together. It's really a shame. I've seen some pictures of the original sculpture of this figure, and the teeth are just so incredibly well done in those photos, but what we got was not what was sculpted, which really is unfortunate. There's not a whole lot to say about this figure in terms of detail. It's got some texturing going on in there. It's not really enough to say that it's individually sculpted scales. You've got the nasal crest of the Spinosaurus up on top there. The interior of the mouth has been lovingly sculpted. You've got a tongue in there with not a whole lot of gloss, I'm afraid. It's sort of flat looking, doesn't have a lot of life to it, that tongue does. The eyes are that classic Carnegie gold with the black pupil. Going down the neck, you can see some lovely wrinklage in the neck area. The throat has a lovely sort of skin flap, and you get the start of these sort of crocodilian scoots, which run down the length of the entire body, and then you've got a sort of the black of the spine starts at the neck too. Right in the shoulder area there, you've got some more lovely wrinklage as the arms are lifted slightly forward with the imposing giant claw on the top there. The claws are sort of boring and lame. They've got this really, in my opinion, dumb paint job of the gray and then the black. I would have just liked to see them done in black. But you really get an idea of the musculature in this figure's arm as it is folding its arms up and tensing them, possibly to strike. You've got more lovely wrinklage gathered here and going down that neck as the creature bends its neck to look slightly off to the right there. You've got the resulting wrinklage, which is an amazing detail. Great to see. Very, very lifelike. Nice to see that they're paying it that much attention. The scoots have continued all the way from the neck to the body here where you see the most of them. Really nice feel. It really is. You've got a wrinkle down around the gut area here, which is great to see. I love seeing, I don't know what it is, but I love seeing this wrinkle here. It's really so cool when you see that on a sculpture. I don't know what it is, but it just makes it feel so lifelike. The gut on the left side is nice and swelled as the creature sort of crumples its right side in, which is... they just paid so much attention to how the anatomy would bend and move on this thing, which I think is their greatest triumph here. The legs are long and powerful looking, very bird-like. You get a very bird-like feel in there, with some tiny feet. That pose a threat to the stability of this model. I have been able to get him to stand without the use of his tail, but it's usually very short-lived. More lovely wrinklage back down here around the thighs, and the scoots continue all the way down to this swooping tail, which I gotta say is very crocodilian, because all the scoots just sort of come together and become so well defined. Oh, focus, focus, come on. There we go, that's a little better. The scoots, excuse me, just all come out and are even more prominent towards the end of this tail, which gives it such a crocodilian feel. Maybe that's just me picking up on that, but I'm sure that that's what they were going for, given Spinosaurus's aquatic nature. The sail on this guy is done with the green, sort of from the body. It gradiates up into the sail, and then you've got a sort of light yellow and then orange, and then it's all outlined with the black there. I think it's a pretty striking colored sail. It almost looks like a sunrise to me. You know, you got the trees, and then you've got the sun coming over the trees, and then the warm glow radiating upwards. The rest of the figure, the cream color from the spine is also the color of the underbelly, and then the green just sort of continues all the way up and sort of masks the head and goes all the way down into the tail region. And yeah, that's really all there is to the look of this figure. I know it's not entirely accurate, but I think this is one of my favorite figures from Carnegie. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely in probably my top 3 looking at my Carnegie shelf. I'm not seeing anything over there. It might be in my top 5. I'd say that's probably a safer bet. I'm sure I'm missing one. But yes, it is right up there with their Carnotaurus and Giganotosaurus. A great figure, it really is. It's got the old world charm. It's got that, it's that perfect balance. If you ask me, this is sort of the perfect balance of the Spinosaurus species. If I can get him to stand, he's sort of having balancing issues. Bear with me here. This is sort of that perfect balance between depictions of Spinosaurus, if you ask me. The back legs are a little too long, I know that, but it's not that sort of fully upright Spinosaurus from the early 2000s. It's sort of in that transition period from a mostly bipedal creature to a mostly quadruped. Even though I don't think Spinosaurus was a full quadruped, I think it was more like Iguanodon or other such species where it could walk on its knuckles, but it really wasn't designed to do that all that often. I'd say it was more like a duck, if anything. You know, it had the short legs, but its center of balance was more to the front, which allowed it to sort of balance on its legs, on its short legs without sort of toppling. You know, if you can understand what I'm saying. The spine is again stuck in that sort of classic look. It doesn't have the sort of up, down, up sort of look that people have come to accept nowadays. But again, this is Carnegie. This was done in what? I can't even read the belly. 2009? 2009, I believe. That's what it says on the stomach here. More lovely wrinkles. I never brought that up, but you can see that. That's really cool. This was done in 2009, so it was right in that era when people were thinking this was... It's the most accurate Spinosaurus figure for the time, and with our ever-evolving knowledge of Spinosaurus, I really don't think if you bought this you would be, like, buying something heavily outdated. I mean, it is, but as far as outdated sculpts go, this is pretty top-notch. Highly recommend this sculpt. The paint job, it's a little boring at times, but it certainly gets the job done. This really is a quality figure. You're not going to go wrong with this guy. So, just how big is Carnegie's edition of the Spinosaurus? Well, as you can see, he doesn't quite fit into frame, if that's any indicator for you. He is quite the sizable beast. Let's bring in our flimsy ruler here and get a look. So from the tip of the snout all the way to the back of the tail, I'm going to estimate it's going to be about, I'd say maybe 12 or so inches. It's quite the long figure, and as you all know, the end of my ruler broke off, so it's not really helpful on these larger figures. But hopefully I can give you a height here. So from the base all the way to the highest point, which is going to be the sail, you're looking at right around 5 1/4 inches off the ground. Let's get into some size comparisons for you. Kicking off, we're going to bring in the Papo edition of the Spinosaurus, and as you can see, the Papo figure is a right size. It's just a little bit taller than the head of the Spinosaurus here. The chin of the Papo Spinosaurus could rest on the sail of the Carnegie version. Like I said, they're not standing very well. I might have to adjust what I'm doing here. But if you have the Papo Spinosaurus, hopefully this gives you an idea of how they size up next to each other. Next up, we're going to bring in Safari Limited's latest edition of the Spinosaurus. And if you ask me, this is just sort of a devolution of this species. I mean, I get that Safari's new version is the more accurate one, but it just looks so ugly. The colors are just so garish and ugly on this figure as compared to this classic Carnegie look. I really do appreciate everything that's going on with the Carnegie figure. Not so much this guy, but hopefully that gives you an idea on how these two figures size up next to each other. And once again, no bananas, I know, but in light of that, we're going to bring in sort of an interesting comparison. It's the battle of the century, the one that's got dino fans everywhere disagreeing. It's T-Rex versus Spinosaurus, locked in mortal combat once again. Oh yeah, I'm doing a review. My bad. Anywho, yeah, you can see how these two size up next to each other. This was Carnegie's last version of the T-Rex, and if you've seen my video review of that figure, I really don't much care for it. I mean, it's pretty darn good sculpturally. I'm really glad I have this version of the T-Rex. I just don't like the paint job. I think it could have been so much better. But yes, hopefully you can see an idea of how these two size up next to each other. The T-Rex is smaller than the Spinosaurus, both in length and in height, but only slightly. But that is, they size up really well together, surprisingly well together for that older Spinosaurus look. And it's very fitting to see these two on the shelf together. But if you're going to try to hunt down one of these figures, I would definitely go for this one. This one's pretty good. Not my favorite by any means, but I mean, hey, if you can get both, definitely get both, especially with how hard it is getting to find Carnegie figures. I highly recommend picking up as many as you can with the time left. Well, folks, that's gonna do it for our look at the Carnegie edition of the Spinosaurus. This is just a wonderful figure. I mean, it's got the old world charm of Carnegie. It's accurate for the time. It's just so fun to look at on the shelf. It makes a great addition to anyone's collection, and it comes highly recommended by Killershrewfan here. I think this figure deserves an 8 out of 10 just because of how much fun it is. Highly recommend picking it up, but as always, let me know what you guys think of this figure. Is it your favorite Spinosaurus toy? If not, what is? Do you own it? Are you gonna try and get it now? Let me know all of that. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to do that, I'm so sorry. Let me know all of that down in the comment section below. Don't be afraid to keep requesting videos. As you can see, I'm trying to bang out the request videos as fast as possible. I really do appreciate when you guys ask us to make something, because it just shows, you know, that you watch and that you care, and I love you for it. I love you. But anywho, if you think I did a good job with this review, don't be afraid to hit the like button and subscribe to Killershrewfan, so that way you don't miss any of our future content. We will see you in our next video. Bye-bye.